Okay, so I figured out the course of action I'm going to take. There's a few things I have to do on it, and I am waiting on parts. That O-ring for the oil pump cover, that's on order. They had the gaskets in stock that for the exhaust for the muffler. They had 3 of them, but I'm just going to pick them all up at the same time. We do have to pull the engine and clean underneath and fix that locating pin for the clutch. And we have to change the drive belt. So what I've decided to do is, since the engine's coming off, I'll take the fuel tank off too and flush it out, make sure it's clean. And once all that stuff's off, I'm going to take it outside, flip the thing over, and pressure wash underneath it. Get all that oil and grass and stuff off of there that's been there for decades, and do a thorough cleaning. And I'll change the belt while it's upside down because it's easier. So we're going to jump into this video with a fast forward. It's just going to be running me going around under and just taking stuff off, and we'll get that engine off of there and off to the side and waiting for parts. And I've drained most of the oil out of it already. It's cold. I didn't run it to warm the oil up, so it took forever, and it's just trickling out. So, and it wasn't full anyways, but didn't see any metallic in it, so that's a good sign. There's no bearings and connecting rods falling out of the drain hole, so we're okay. So let's jump into it and get this engine off of here. Okay, so engine's off, fuel tank's off. Pretty quick on these, actually. One wire off the starter, disconnect the plug on this side, it disconnects the engine harness. That's all there is. 2 bolts on the muffler. Tried to get the muffler out. I can get it out if I remove the shield. I'm not overly concerned with it. I might just leave it in. Those 2 little brackets here, 2 screws, and that's 1 for each side, 2 screws in the top. This slides out of a hole in the gas tank, and it's out. Yeah, but get you popped out of the stand there in a second. Oh, I got all kinds of stuff to unplug. Ooh, that one and that one. Get you out of the stand. Let's see what I'm seeing. So there's, yes, definitely an oil problem. It was perfectly dry under here It's not anymore. Getting all this stuff out will give me a chance to get in there and dig all that garbage out of there. Tractor's very light now. I'll be able to flip it up, no problem. Let's get you a shot of the underside of this engine. So you can tell by the carbon around that port that it's been leaking there. When I was looking earlier with my mirror, my inspection mirror, I was looking at that split, that seam there. I could see where the gasket had been part missing. But that's the oil leak culprit right there. Right there. I think I have this seal too. You know what? I better change that seal too while I'm in here. I don't want to do it again. So I'll get it up on the bench eventually. Because it looks like there's goop here leading from the... It's hard to see with the light washes the camera out. It looks like there might be oil coming from there as well. I mean, to be fair, it could have been leaking out of here, running this way, and then surrounding this plate and dripping off the bolts. That's possible. I think I have a seal for this in particular. I think, well, I've had this tractor for quite a while, but I think I went around and I already ordered parts a while ago for this. So anyways, that's the two things. I'm gonna check right now, because if I have to order that seal, I'll order it today, and it's the same time. It should come in the same time as the O-ring. But yeah, there's definitely an exhaust leak there. If it wasn't leaking, there would be no black around the edge. Okay. Let's see if I got that gasket or that seal. Well, it's a Kohler number. Ho, 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 ho. Yep, got the seal. So, if anybody needs to know, that's the Kohler part number for the seal for the bottom of the crank on a 13 horse command. All right. It's nice enough outside. I'm gonna, I think, push this out now. All right, so we got the thing pressure washed outside. Notice there's like a foot of snow in places. It's just warm enough outside that everything was thawed. Of course, after I used the pressure washer, I had to bring the pressure washer in the shop, blow the pump out so there's no water left in it, bring the hose in, blow all the hoses out, the garden hose and the pressure wash hose, to make sure there's no water in it, because I don't want to freeze and crack and break anything. So anyways, that's done. And this is in here. This is much easier to work on it like this. It's pretty stable to where it is. It's sitting on the hoist. It's up on the back of the fenders there. It's stable. It's not going to fall over on me. I do have a little block in behind there to make sure. But anyway, while it was up in the air, I don't know if you may have noticed, sometimes when I was turning the wheel, the whole axle was actually shifting back and forth. That's because the main through bolt, the pivot bolt, was loose. So I tightened that up and greased it, because their John Deere's have a grease fitting on it. And now, that axle's nice. Pivot's nice, but it doesn't rock. So that's going to be a major improvement in the steering. Because what was happening is you'd turn it one wheel, and the whole axle would shift, and then it would shift all over the place, and it wasn't behaving. So it's going to help the steering anyways. So a couple of things here. This is that rod that locates the PTO clutch. And remember, previously I said, actually it's probably the last video now, the last video on this tractor, I said that I had to unbolt the old, off another machine. I unbolted it, put it on the bench, and I'm not going to do that because of this big spring. Well, that other machine was a yellow deck. This is a black deck. That's not bolted on. That's actually welded in as part of the chassis. That doesn't come off. It's fine, I wasn't going to take it off anyways, but that's one of the things that's different between a yellow and a black deck. The yellow deck had different stampings. It was drilled. It had bolts. It took more time and more effort, more designing and more labor to build the yellow decks than it did the black decks. That's one of the examples on how the black decks differ from the yellows. I'm not going to say they're cheap. They still weren't cheap. I think this machine in '96 was about, I think in '93 the machines were, the gear ones were like $2,000 US, which is not cheap. It's actually quite expensive in '93. But in any case, wide open here. We're going to be able to weld it, which I'm not going to film because I don't want to wreck my camera. I will weld it and show you the aftermath. I mean the results. But what we can do right now is work on this drive belt. It's huge. It goes, well, there's a pulley missing. This is the pulley that goes from the engine. So that's over here. And it runs over this V idler, goes down to the transaxle, back up through this flat idler, which is spring loaded. And it's actually kind of stiff. The pivot here is stiff. I'm going to loosen it, penetrating all, lube it, and get it back together. So it comes back off the transaxle, goes on this flat idler, goes back down around this V idler, goes back up to the pulley. Simple. Looks like to get it off these idlers, I have to take the idlers off. Or at least, yeah, just the guards. I'll take the guards right off. Yeah, so that's that. You know what? Gotta be careful here. This idler is adjustable. It's on a slot. The through bolt here actually is in a slot here. So I'm gonna mark it before I do anything. It's that clutch. The clutch is locked down, and we can't do anything anyways because of the engine pulley's missing, but I'm going to put it back where it was. That's all I'm going to say. So what I'll do is I'll mark, because that is, one of these guards is in relation to the bolt, so I'm going to mark across here on the chassis with my Sharpie. And we're going to put it right back where we found it. So let's get that marked. There we go. That's marked, so we know where to put it. Yeah, this is much easier. Lots of room. This idler will have to come off. And the belt should go. Oh, good grief. I'm going to pull tie rods off and everything. Huh. Overcomplicated for no good reason. I have to pull the tie rods off because the belt has to come over this shaft, the steering shaft, and come down around. I don't think I'll fast forward this. I will talk through it. If you want to skip ahead, feel free. But there are some people that may want to see this. Actually, I think there was a comment left by one viewer about doing the drive belt on these. quite a while ago now. Pretty sure he's got his done already, but anyways. This is the first drive belt I've done the STXs, I think. I don't remember. I do so much stuff, it's like a blur anymore. We can get rid of these cotter pins because I put new ones in. Get out of there. Washer. Do we have to alternate these things? Maybe. The other way. Maybe. Come on, behaviors. There we go. There's one. And there's the other. And that's just the steering wheel. That's all that's connected to that now. So there's that. And then a belt will come over the spring, over here. Has to pull through, so the little lock knob that locks that clutch in is going to have to come out. Yeah, so the clutch actually pulls, the clutch pedal pulls on this giant spring too. Yeah, that little rod's got to come out. I'm not sure about up here. I think we should be able to get that out of there. We should be able to wiggle the belt out. Well, let's start getting stuff loose. So I'm going to just flip it off the transaxle. That's that. Let's start taking these off. 13s, 10 mil there. One there. One there. One there. I'll take that little guard off. That's okay. That's good. There's 2 bolts. So the guard is held on by 1 nut, and then it's actually a stud, so the pulley is not going to lose my adjustment. We're good. Take that off. The belts unhook. So it's free from its captivity down below. Let's get that off of there. You know what? Could be worse. This could be worse. I don't want to do this laying on my back though. And it's just one little bolt that's actually holding it in now. That's the little lock for the clutch pedal. And 10 mil. Metric on this tractor. All metric. Yeah. Get the little nut off of there. So I'm going to slide that rod out. Doesn't have to come all the way out, just has to clear the belt. And it's free! It was due, definitely due. It's got age on it, it's worn, it's cracked, and it's oil soaked. Feels like a sponge in my hands. So, of course, I forgot to get the new belt. So, I'm gonna run out to the shed, one of the sheds, and get that belt. John Deere part number for this machine is M74747. That's it, no more force, that's it. 74747. Yep. Okay. Well, I forget how it goes already. Back in here. Put the little nut back in it. Just because it's here and we can. And where did you put the nut? There it is. Not so bad when the tractor's up in the air like this. Like I said, it's a little easier to work on. hold the other side with pliers because there's no, it's just a little tiny handle. And it's just a bent rod for a handle. On the yellow decks, it's actually got a threaded on plastic round knob. Okay, that's in and on. Okay, up, over, down, through, over, yeah, down, over the transaxle, under the guard, little rods, get in there. Ha, ha. What are you stuck on? What are you doing? You're embarrassing me. What are you doing? New belt's not quite as flexible as the old one. Yeah, I know, whatever. Whatever excuse works. It's going. Yeah. See, there we go, easy. Meant to do that. And this way, that way, what way? What way? What are you doing to me here? How can you forget already where this stuff goes? That's gonna go up a little. Dang it. Well, I don't know. Well, we know it has to go. It has to go there, so we'll put you scrape that poopy out of there. Goes something like that. Just loosely put a nut on it. Put a pin in it. There's that one. Brain cramp. Is it this way? Was it? I think so. Yes. Oh, yeah. I'm positive. No. Hard no. Not positive, but that's probably it. Let's get that nut on there loose. And we'll get this guard on there. Guard, guide, does both. It's a guide for, it's got a guide arm that comes underneath the belt there, so everything fits, so that's absolutely where it goes. I know, I'm making stuff up as I go. I'm just winging it. That looks about like where it was. Now, I'll have to depress the clutch to get that pulley back in when I put the engine on it again, but that's it. That's the drive belt. We can get our steering hook back up again. There's that one. Come on. And that one. Put a couple of washers on there. A couple of new cotter pins over in the cotter pin department. Where are you? There's one. And two. Yep. We'll go with these. Bend them over, snip them off. There's that one. And that one. That's that. Well, that wasn't too hard. You guys were all worried about the belt. I'm going to run around under here and spray everything with spray grease because it's all squeaky and rusty. So I'll do that, and then I'll lay it back down on the ground. You know what? Actually, while it's apart like this, the brake is sticky, so I'm going to take that brake apart. Yeah, sounds like a great idea. Because it's seizing. It's very hard to push tractor around, actually. It kind of binds up on it. But yeah, I'm going to spray the grease all over here, and then I'll get to the brakes. Hang on. Okay, so I got the brake taken care of. It's all freed up. Seems to be working a lot better now. So, I got the engine up on the bench, and this is where we're at now. We are still waiting on that part. That's not here yet. So, there's the new seal. I got it out of the package, and it seems to be the right one. So, I mean, I got it close to the crankshaft here, and it's close. I didn't want to push it on there because I didn't clean it. I didn't clean any rust off of this. There's a little tiny spot of rust here that I'm going to have to clean. But for now, let's get that old one out of there. I'm not pulling the cases and all that, the crankcase and all that stuff apart. I'm going to use a drill bit. I'm going to drill into the edge of the seal. So basically, I'm going to drill into the steel part, the edge of the band here on the old one. I'm going to thread a screw in there and hopefully pull it out. So you're not going to see everything, but we're going to carefully, I don't want to hit the crank and I don't want to hit the engine case. I might center punch that first, just so it doesn't skate on me. In the past, I've just jammed a screwdriver into them. That works too. But this one here, I'm going to drill it. Nope, I'm not going to drill it. It's going to go right off center, right where I don't want it to go. Oh yeah, that's just great. That's exactly what I wanted. Drill is, the crankshaft snout is so long I can't get the drill bit straight on it, so it's skating on me. So let me get another punch mark a little better. Maybe. Let's see. Yeah, it seems to be going in now. Could have probably picked a sharper drill bit. Jeez. We'll try this one. I think we got it. I don't know, maybe. We're gonna check it. We're gonna see. We'll screw thread it in. And let's see if we can get maybe a flat screwdriver to pry against the nose of the crank here. Maybe. Maybe. Oh, look at that. Seal's coming out. Here we go. Seal's out. Now, I don't even know for sure if this was leaking, but I have one. I have a new one, and we have an oil leak problem, so let's just put the new one in. So I'm going to look in there to see if there's a ring around the crankshaft where that seal was riding. I'm not seeing anything. Grab another rag here, make sure all the any filings that may have been put in there are now taken out. No damage from when the drill bit or the screw went in. That's nice. A little tiny bit of rust right here. I'm just gonna scooch that off with some emery cloth. I had a little square of emery cloth. Don't need much. I don't really need a new piece. New piece. It's easier than finding the old one. I just don't want to have that rust on there where it might damage the new seal on its way in. That's it. It's nice and clean. Don't feel any nicks or burrs anywhere else. So that's that. Now, to install the new seal, we can't just whack it in there. There's a crankshaft in the way. So there are installers. There's all kinds of special tools you can buy. I'm using none of those. There is some grease in here from factory in the new lip seal. Put a little more on the back side here. It's in the cavity between the inner and outer seal. But just want to make sure it's got a little bit of lubrication to slide down over that. So what I'm going to use today to install is a piece of plastic pipe. It's close. It's pretty close. This is way too long, but it's what I have. So let's see what happens. Try and get it to go in straight. If the pipe wasn't 3 feet long, it'd be easier. It is going in. And it's going in straight. Yep. Oh, there we go. Nice and straight. I'm going to set it roughly the same depth that it was. Let me inspect. Oh baby. Just a hair more. Just a hair. That right there is perfect. Nice. Okay. Seal's in. I'm curious. I'm going to take that... No, I know I don't have the part, but I'm going to take the oil pump cover off. See what it looks like in there. Let's tilt her back just a little. I don't want to go upside down or nothing. I just want to tilt it back. Oh, that didn't tilt at all. Could get a rag under it so it doesn't leak everywhere all over my bench. And what are those? 8mm. Let's get that garbage drill bit in the garbage. We'll put this drill bit away. We'll get the other drill out, or the little baby impact, little impacto gun. Well, it's a little, it's a driver. It's a screwdriver. Okay, this is the oil pump. You don't want to mess with anything in there. You got to make sure everything stays clean. There is your oil pump, right there. And there's that crazy O-ring. It's flattened out. I'm pretty sure that was the leak, but doesn't matter. New seal's in it. So when you, if you're looking at oil pumps, this is a gerotor style rotary pump, similar to what's in your car. So this plate here, it's important that this plate doesn't have any big major scratches or grooves or anything in it, because if it does, you're going to be bleeding off oil pressure. I am not taking that stuff out. I'm just going to leave it the way it is. Just wanted to put an eyeball on it. I'm not taking it out, but I wanted to look at this plate to make sure that there's no major scratches in it. You can see some very, very light scratching in there. That's normal, and that is perfectly fine. So yeah, that's that. Oil pump's full. Well, there's all kinds of fluid still in the system. I'm not going to let this drip out because I'll be days now before I get this part. So I'm just going to put that back on there. Just wanted to make sure that everything was golden in there, that I didn't have to order anything else. When the new oil pump gasket or O-ring comes in, we'll just slide this cover back off and swamp it out. That's that. There we are. There's not a whole bunch to do until our parts come in.